High Rise, written by Ray Vernazza. Narrated by Laurie Jones, starring Ron Cale, Jarian Monroe, Christopher Sullivan, and David Fine. Directed by Barney Jones. This is a recorded read of High Rise, a feature film script by Ray Vernazza. For more information regarding the development of this project, please contact Ray Vernazza at rayver6@hotmail.com.
Do you know what the American dream is? It's not a shiny car, a beautiful wife, and 2.3 kids. It's property ownership. Real estate. What makes you think you have what it takes to be a real estate agent?
$15 million. Is that too much to pay? I don't think so.
Buyers don't make the market.
I'll fax the contract today.
On my desk by 10 or the deal is dead. Have a nice day.
Sellers don't make the market.
Your client's getting a good deal. If you can't control him, I'll have the seller terminate the contract.
You make the market.
If you can't afford to make the commitment, then step aside and let someone else move forward. But you have to ask yourself one thing. $15 million. Is that too much to pay? I don't think so.
Top salesperson of the year, Nick Powers. Come on up here.
I'm looking for the Parker Gold Real Estate Group.
Penthouse level.
Penthouse.
All the way up, top of the world.
Can I help you?
I have an appointment with Mr. Gold.
So wonderful to see all of you this morning. So many familiar faces. It's like being with family.
Who's hitting the street today?
Go away!
By order of the Superior Court of the City and County of San Francisco, I order all persons on this property to vacate the premises immediately. Do you understand?
Fuck you!
Our blueprint for success. The Palace. 3 high-rise towers designed for the future.
The bank does not want to be associated with evicting people from their home.
What you have to ask yourself is whether you want to risk losing a $250 million construction project over a handful of squatters.
Let me tell you something about this business. It's not about architecture or dreams. It's about money. We put ourselves in the middle of a lot of money, and when it's all over, we see what sticks. You.
When are you planning on moving?
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 I ain't moving.
How are you, Nick?
What are you doing here?
Thought I was going up.
It's a common mistake.
Never refer to it as a deal. At Parker Gold, it's a transaction.
The deal is everything. The day you lose sight of that is the day it steamrolls right over you.
That was a great speech you made at the meeting, Nick. But you got it wrong. A home isn't about hardwood floors and granite slabs. It's about people sharing their lives, building a future together.
At Parker Gold, we strive to maintain the highest standard of integrity. What kind of car do you drive?
When I signed on, I made a commitment to myself that I'd be the best this company has ever seen, with or without your help.
Today's keynote will be delivered by a new rising star at Parker Gold, Ethan Rialto.
That there's the real estate band.
To you, they're just part of the problem, like this building. Trash to haul away.
Are you up to this or not? Because if you're not, I need to know right now.
Remember one thing. You be the real estate man, but I be the homeowner man.
I'm gonna evict his ass. On the street.
See how easy real estate is?
Blank. Clean. Each sheet a bullet made to fire at you.
I'm hearing from some of you that the market is becoming more difficult. Guess what? It's a war out there, and all of you are in the front trenches.
You tell those motherfuckers to shove the hurdle requirement up their ass!
Who makes the market?
I do.
Who?
I do.
Fuck the banks!
Banks don't concern themselves with crackheads and homeless. Is that our money?
Harwood's dead.
Flatliners are not rewarded.
Hey, mister. Let go of my cat. I'm on to you! You don't get it. They aren't people. They're real estate agents.
Real estate sales may not be the right choice for you. Look at my face and ask me again.
$15 million. Is that too much to pay? I don't think so.
Nick Powers stands naked in front of a steamed bathroom mirror. He stares at his image, lights a cigarette, flicks the lighter closed. A glass is filled from a half-empty bottle of Johnny Walker Blue.
$15 million. Is that too much to pay? I don't think so.
A mahogany panel door glides open. The closet stuffed with suits. Brioni, Zegna, Armani. Powers compares a gray Brioni to a dark Armani. He selects the Armani.
I'll fax the contract today.
On my desk by 10 or the deal is dead. Have a nice day.
Powers moves to a shoe rack lined with the finest leather. He chooses Ferragamo.
I'm doing the best I can, but he won't sign off.
Your client's getting a good deal. If you can't control him, I'll have the seller terminate the contract.
Mr. Powers, this is Mary Lee with Sumitomo Bank, confirming your 10:30 presentation to the directors.
8:30.
Excuse me?
I have the appointment as 8:30.
I'm so sorry. I show the appointment as 10:30.
Powers buffs his shoes on an electric buffer.
I'm looking at my schedule right now. 8:30 at the club.
I'm not sure that all the directors will be able to attend.
They'll be there. One other thing.
Yes, Mr. Powers?
Tell them to bring their checkbooks.
He searches a collection for the perfect tie, retrieves a red Ralph Lauren, meticulously crafts the perfect knot.
I know you haven't forgotten that today is the annual company meeting. Mr. Gold expects you there on time.
Tell Gold I'll be there when I can.
He slides open a drawer with half a dozen watches. Rolex, Patek Philippe, Weil. He wraps a Rolex around his wrist, admires it.
Nick Powers.
Nick, can I see you today?
He closes the door of the dressing room.
Too busy.
Tonight?
No. Maybe.
He puts on the suit coat. Meticulously dressed, he checks his image in a full-length mirror, carefully. At the top of his game, Nick Powers will never look better.
I really like the building.
It's a trophy property.
Yes, it is.
Then what's your hesitation?
I'm not sure it makes financial sense. It is an expensive piece.
I understand. If you can't afford to make the commitment, then step aside and let someone else move forward. But you have to ask yourself one thing. $15 million. Is that too much to pay? I don't think so.
Write it up.
One last check in the mirror.
Better than perfect.
Powers enters the dark master bedroom, pulls the shades back. Through floor-to-ceiling windows, bright sunlight floods the large room. A shape stirs on the bed. Crystal Ballard, a beautiful woman buried under satin sheets. He sits on the edge of the bed, gently moves her long black hair, exposing a smooth neck. He leans in, close.
7:30. You're going to be late.
As he gets up, she playfully grabs his wrist. He pulls back the sheet, takes in the length of her body. The smile on his face indicates what is being offered. 3 sides of glass, the city below. Powers crosses the expanse of ultra-modern living. He casually strolls along a row of exotic sports and luxury cars, each with a personalized license plate. Powers 1, a Corvette. Powers 2, a Porsche. Powers 3, a Ferrari.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
A downtown skyline mirrored in deep black gloss. Distorted skyscrapers flow from seamless panels. A black Mercedes SL 500 prowls a path between high-rises. As the Mercedes pushes through heavy traffic, Powers grips his most life-affirming tool, his cell phone.
Is your client a magician? No? Well, he must be. He's trying to produce financing out of thin air. Hold on. Powers. Yes? 13 million for the development site. I have a standing offer from an offshore group. Well, if your clients don't pull the trigger, they're going to lose it. Thank you. Provide proof of funds as promised, and maybe I can convince the seller to look at your piss-poor offer.
Ethan Rialto stands in front of a cracked mirror, dressed in a shabby suit, fumbling desperately to put a decent cinch on a tie. After several attempts, Ethan rips the tie loose, throws it down in disgust. He sits at the edge of the bed, defeated. The small one-room apartment seems very claustrophobic at this moment. Every plaster crack, every layer of peeling paint seems to press in. He retrieves the tie, grabs a coat, leaves. In another apartment, a sprawling metropolis of high-rise buildings stretches across the floor. A cat, Tiger, wanders down a boulevard. The scale of Tiger to the buildings indicates the city is an architect's model. Tiger uses one of the miniature high-rises as a scratching post. Surrounded by the model city is an architect's drafting table stacked with blueprints. Franklin Harwood, 50s, creative, eccentric, intellectual, slumped across the drafting table, asleep. Tiger jumps onto the table. Harwood startles, groggy and stiff. He lifts a coffee mug, empty. Tiger stretches out comfortably.
Rough night?
Harwood puts his glasses on, begins to pencil lines on a drawing. After a moment, he throws the pencil down, crosses to the window, looks out. Large tenement-style apartment buildings line a busy street, each differing only by the amount of trash in front. Ethan walks along the sidewalk, joins a line of pedestrians squeezing into an overcrowded bus. As he boards, it pulls away from the curb and is replaced by Powers' Mercedes. Powers parks in the bus zone, exits the vehicle, walks along the debris-littered sidewalk. Armani-clad, he is a stark contrast to the graffiti-splashed walls of the derelict structures.
Mister, can you help me? I need some money.
You spare $1?
Can I talk to you for a minute?
Nick Powers, you have a full-price offer. $4 million too? Well, unfortunately, it puts you in backup position behind several others.
Get $1 for me, sir.
You didn't move fast enough. Better luck next time.
Spare change, buddy?
He approaches a large building not unlike the others, with one exception. Once decorated ornately with period detail, now long gone, the facade still retains its Gothic statues. From the parapets, they smile serenely with chipped faces. A faded marquee looms over the sidewalk, barely discernible under layers of peeling paint. One word: Palace. Several shapes stir under the sheltered lobby entrance. Sheriff's deputies. The largest steps forward.
Who's hitting the street today?
Powers produces a document. The deputy casually glances through the thick packet as Powers lights a cigarette. A homeless man gathers his possessions into a shopping cart, ignores them. The deputy raps on a plywood-covered lobby door.
Go away. By order of the Superior Court of the City and County of San Francisco, I order all persons on this property to vacate the premises immediately.
The deputies exchange looks, begin to pump up.
Do you understand?
Fuck you!
Boys?
4 deputies plunge a heavy battering ram forward. Clubs drawn, they enter the breach. Protesting homeless are dragged to the street. Scuffles break out as the eviction becomes chaotic. A crowd of office dwellers gathers to watch. Powers stands casually to the side, smoking.
Powers.
He is knocked to the ground by a fleeing homeless man. Powers slams against the concrete. Lying on wet pavement, he stares at the gray sky. Clouds float by. Powers becomes aware of faces that stare at him with concern. The large deputy, the homeless man who knocked him down, and an unfamiliar face, a beautiful woman with caring eyes.
Hey, are you all right, buddy? That was a hard hit.
The deputy helps Powers to his feet, hands him his cell phone. Powers searches for the woman. He catches a glimpse of her in the crowd. She watches him, a slight smile on her face.
I can't talk now. I'm in a meeting.
He turns back to the woman. Gone. The Randall Building, a modern high-rise giant. Crowds flow through the entry. The marble-clad lobby is packed with people waiting impatiently for an elevator. The crowd surges as 8 elevators discharge and consume human cargo randomly. Ethan moves along the edge of the crowd, slowly works his way to the building register. He studies the list of names.
Can I help you, sir?
I'm looking for the Parker Gold Real Estate Group.
Penthouse level.
Penthouse?
All the way up, top of the world.
Elevator doors whoosh open. Ethan squeezes in, another sardine. With a slight jerk, the elevator descends to the garage level. Everyone exits except Ethan. Crystal Ballard enters. She glances at Ethan. He takes in the length of her shapely body.
Thought I was going up.
It's a common mistake.
The elevator returns to the lobby. Doors open. People jam in, push Crystal uncomfortably close to Ethan. She turns. Their eyes lock. For a moment, there is a glimmer of attraction. The elevator stops. She slips out. Ethan rides to the end of the line, top of the world. The car's sole inhabitant, he exits. Raised stainless steel letters on a set of oversized mahogany doors. Parker Gold Real Estate Group. One of the doors swings open, discharging a well-dressed man past Ethan.
Fucking real estate.
Hello?
Ethan catches a glimpse of the man's back as the man hurries down the hall, disappears around a corner. Ethan enters the inner sanctum. A large modern entry stretches in front of him. His footsteps echo on the colored concrete floor. A headset-wearing receptionist rules an oversized mahogany desk.
Can I help you?
Hello, yes,
He's not in right now. Would you like his voicemail? Can I help you?
I have an appointment with Mr. Gold.
Do you have an appointment? Parker Gold? Yes, she is. I'll put you right through.
Yes, I have an appointment.
Are you a client of Mr. Gold's?
No, I'm here for an interview.
Mr. Gold is not in right now.
I have an appointment.
I'm sorry.
Will he be in later?
Possibly.
I'll wait if that's okay.
Parker Gold? Yes, she is. I'll put you right through.
Ethan sinks into a plush leather club chair. Real estate magazines are neatly fanned on a glass tabletop. One magazine cover features Powers standing in front of a city skyline. The headline reads, "Nick Powers, the powerhouse behind Parker Gold." Ethan flips through the magazine, searching for the article. A series of action photographs show Powers at work behind a desk. Ethan tosses the magazine onto the pile. He stands in front of a wall lined with top producer award plaques. Powers is featured prominently in a number of them. Above the shiny brass tombstones in large, bold letters, Parker Gold. Parker Gold forms the backdrop of the grand banquet hall stage at the Ritz. The hall is filled with several hundred people seated around circular tables. Uniformed waiters clear away the remains of a luncheon. The crowd's attention is focused on the stage. Standing at a podium presiding over the assemblage, Jack Gold, part evangelist, part rock star, a true business chameleon.
It's so wonderful to see all of you this morning. So many familiar faces. It's like being with family. Can you do something for me? I want you to congratulate yourselves for making the past year the highest sales volume year in the history of this company. And next year will be even better. Parker Gold wants to acknowledge all the hard work and the many, many sacrifices each and every one of you has made over the past year.
He indicates shiny awards of various shapes and sizes arranged on a table center stage.
So, without further delay, let the rewarding commence.
Gold glances at his watch, distracted. The San Francisco Yacht Club, a nondescript building perched on pilings at the edge of the bay. Powers' Mercedes rolls into a parking lot filled with luxury cars, parks at the club entrance. He gets out, tosses the key to a valet, enters the club.
Mr. Powers, there's an impatient group of people waiting for you.
No calls, no interruptions.
Powers crosses the plush dining room to join a woman and two conservatively dressed men seated at a table. Bankers.
Nick!
Sorry I'm late. Please sit down.
Powers signals a waiter. Immediately, the table is surrounded by service. A chocolate dessert shaped like 3 high-rise towers is served. A champagne pour follows.
I wasn't exaggerating when I said this deal is sweet.
A folder is placed in front of each banker.
Our blueprint for success. The Palace. Inside, you will find a detailed pro forma for construction, marketing, and sales costs. That very large number at the bottom is the total projected value.
Powers seats himself at the head of the table, raises his glass.
To the future.
Champagne glasses remain untouched. Prospectus folders remain unopened. Stone-faced, the bankers remain unmoved.
This is really a great view.
Is the bank prepared to move forward?
It's not just up to us. The loan committee has some reservations.
Don't insult me with that loan committee bullshit.
Then let's cut right to it. The bank does not want to be associated with evicting people from their homes. It's not the image we want to be known for.
That's right. You're the people person's bank. Those people had no right to be there, and that decision was backed by a Superior Court judge.
What's going to happen to those people?
What am I missing here? Since when did the bank become a champion for charity? Am I talking to Little Red Riding Hood? I don't think so. I think I'm talking to the wolves. Foreclosure laws were put in place because of banks. Banks so large they owe no allegiance to any nation. Banks like yours. What you have to ask yourself is whether you want to risk losing a $250 million construction project over a handful of squatters.
Nick, your chocolate's melting.
One of Powers' chocolate towers slowly falls over. Rattled, he gets up, hurriedly collects the folders.
If you're not strong enough to hold on to something, then you don't have a right to it. Yeah, it's apparent to me this bank lacks the balls to move forward.
Sure is a nice view.
Powers exits the yacht club, cradling his stack of folders, gets into his car. Powers pounds the dashboard violently, throws the marketing packages in frustration. He grips the steering wheel tightly. After a moment, he becomes aware of the valet's stare. Powers extends cash. The valet accepts. The Mercedes drives away slowly. At the Ritz-Carlton, Gold commands from the podium.
Now, I'm hearing from some of you that the market is becoming more difficult. Guess what? It's a war out there, and all of you are in the front trenches.
He glances at his watch, takes the microphone in hand, moves along the edge of the stage.
This brings to mind my late partner and very dear friend, Jeffrey Parker. One day an agent came to him, lamenting, "The bubble has burst." Seated comfortably in his errand, Jeffrey contemplated the darkening skyline. The agent, thinking he had not been heard, said, "Well, don't you see? The market has crashed. We won't be able to give these properties away. What are we going to do?" Unmoved, Jeffrey stated, "Buyers don't make the market. Sellers don't make the market. You make the market. You. If you don't know that in your heart, then walk away now." That day, the agent put 3 properties into contract. 3. True story. Jeffrey Parker was not afraid of a difficult market. He had the heart of a warrior. So when I hear agents complaining that buyers aren't buying and sellers aren't selling, remember his words. I can't hear you. Come on, you can do better than that.
Buyers don't make the market.
I can't hear you.
Sellers don't make the market.
Again.
Buyers don't make the market. Sellers don't make the market.
Who makes the market?
I do.
Who?
I do.
That's right. You are the market. Never forget that. As you all know, a special award is given to the agent that strives to make this company what it is, and by doing so, achieves his best. Top salesperson of the year, Nick Powers. Come on up here.
Powers walks down the aisle, ascends the stage. Gold hands him a pineapple-sized glass heart.
You certainly earned it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate this generous award, and I want to thank management for the opportunity to excel. Only in a company as progressive and supportive as ours can we truly reach our maximum potential.
Powers sees someone standing in the shadows at the rear of the hall. The beautiful woman in the crowd. He freezes.
What's wrong?
Powers watches as the tall woman sways through an exit door at the rear of the auditorium.
Nick has been working very hard on a special project that we want to share with all of you. This exceptional opportunity truly represents the foundation of what this company is built on. Lights, please.
A projection screen lowers at the rear of the stage. The lights dim.
I want to ask you all a very important question.
Come on, get it together.
Powers focuses on a set of cue cards.
When is a house a home?
Through darkness, a black and white skyline fills the screen.
In an overcrowded world, we all understand the need for our own space. A place we can call our own.
Another slide. Buildings, boarded and abandoned.
The inner cities are decaying. Structures once viable, now transformed into vast rotting hulks in a sea of concrete and rusting steel. If we are to survive the future as a living city, then we must rebuild.
Another image snaps into place. The palace.
1 square block of underutilized buildings will be demolished, and in their place, towering 400 feet into the sky,
a modernistic rendition fills the screen.
The palace. 3 high-rise towers designed for the future. Granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, hardwood floors, panoramic views. Now that's what I call a home.
Another watercolor angle on the towers.
Construction of Tower 1 is scheduled to start within 30 days. 1,262 luxury view condominiums. Get your clients ready. They're gonna go fast.
Powers and Gold fast pace along a service corridor behind the banquet hall. Powers carries his crystal heart prominently.
You need to juice up your presentation, Nick. I thought you were going to make a pitch for Jerry's Kids.
Don't worry, I'll clean it up.
What's the current cash burn on the Palace project?
Including soft costs, $90K a month, give or take.
All right, and let me ask you something. With that negative number piling up, do you think it was wise to piss off our funding source? What the hell happened? The bank canceled their letter of intent.
They didn't want to take the heat of an eviction.
Oh, banks don't concern themselves with crackheads and homeless. Did you go over the numbers?
Never got the chance. Fuck them. I'll get another lender. They'll be lining up to make this deal.
I don't think you understand how serious this is. You can't go and get a $50 million commitment overnight.
This is just to delay a bump in the road.
The investors have put up over $5 million with nothing in return except a few pictures, watercolors. We've said that we'd break ground in 30 days. Now, do you expect me to go to them after 2 years of delays and say that we've lost our construction financing?
Problems are part of any development. You know that better than I do.
I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to keep them in line. We need to stop the bleeding.
I'll have a new loan commitment in 24 hours.
Oh, the famous last words, Nick.
They exit the building. Gold hands a parking stub to a valet who sprints away. Powers and Gold wait. An awkward moment between them.
Did you happen to notice how many people ordered dessert?
Not really.
That cheesecake was $4 extra per person. $4 for a piece of cheesecake. I'm in the wrong fucking business. These meetings are killing me. Revenues are down.
I thought this was a record year.
Company dollar, that's the bottom line, and it's shrinking. Overhead, commission splits, litigation. That's why this project is so important. It's the largest development the company has undertaken. Guaranteed sales of over $100 million. There can't be any distractions. Sacrifices are going to have to be made from all of us. Am I going to be able to count on you?
You know the answer.
Oh, yeah. Of course, Nick. Of course. I was a little harsh on you earlier. No hard feelings?
Gold extends his hand. They solemnly shake. The valet appears with Gold's car, a new gold-colored Rolls-Royce Phantom. The personalized license plate proclaims, Gold. Gold gets in. The valet closes the door.
Gold. Bobby! Hold on a minute. Let me know as soon as you have confirmation on funding. Bobby, at the club? I might be able to swing by.
The Rolls pulls away, leaving Powers alone in the alley. He carefully arranges the crystal heart on the hood of a Honda, then walks away, leaving the car with a new ornament. Ethan wanders the reception area at Parker Gold. As the receptionist fields calls, he slips past.
He's not in right now.
Ethan walks through a vast open area gridlocked with cubicles. He enters a long hallway of floor-to-ceiling glass with fishbowl offices on one side. Beyond the glass, the vast city skyline. Agents sit at their desks pushing paper. Others pace nervously around their fishbowl. Everyone works the telephone. He stops at one of the offices. A smile crosses his face. At her desk, Crystal shuffles through a stack of papers.
Yes?
Hello again. This morning on the elevator, thought I was going up.
I remember.
No secrets here.
Are you meeting an agent?
I have an interview with Mr. Gold.
Oh.
After that, the rest of the day is open for anything that might come along.
You don't waste any time, do you?
Seeing you once was luck, but seeing you twice is fate. We couldn't escape each other if we wanted to.
You'll do really well in real estate.
I meant that.
So did I.
There you are. Mr. Gold is waiting for you.
I'm sure I'll see you again.
Stranger things have happened.
The receptionist leads Ethan down the hallway. He turns to take one last look. Crystal is buried in paperwork. He continues down the hall. She looks up, catches a last glimpse as he disappears around a corner. In his lavish office, Gold sits stiffly behind a massive cherrywood desk. Plastered on his ego wall are award plaques and pictures with politicians, testimonials to his money-making skills. He stands, extends a hand to Ethan. Ethan awkwardly accepts.
Sorry you had to wait. My secretary overbooked. I really should do something about her. Have a seat.
Gold motions to a state-of-the-art plexiglass chair. Ethan sits. He rests uncomfortably on the hard surface. Gold sinks into his plush executive throne. From a desk drawer, he extracts a timer, cranks it, and places it on the desk facing Ethan. Ethan is nervously aware of the ticking clock.
Do you know what the American dream is? It's not a shiny car, a beautiful wife, and 2.3 kids. It's property ownership. Real estate. What makes you think you have what it takes to be a real estate agent?
I like buildings.
Buildings? Yes. There they are. This company has developed and represented the sale of a fair share of those buildings. The Bon Air, $21 million. The Alcazar, $30 million. Royal Towers, $44 million. Excuse me. Jack Gold. Ted! Great time last night. The bartender. Really?
Gold looks up, notices Ethan staring at him.
Let me call you back in 10. No, 5 minutes. I'm in a meeting right now. Great. You were saying?
It's the architecture of buildings that I like.
Oh, I need to take this. Is the mayor on board? Good. Tell him he's made the right decision. I'm going to turn this off. Nasty habit. No more interruptions.
Anita, office manager, enters. Definitely a threshold guardian.
Mr. Gold, your 2:30 is waiting in reception. Your tailor says he has a fitting appointment, and several agents wish to speak to you regarding contractual matters.
Tell the 2:30 I'm not here and send in the tailor.
And the agents?
I'll see them in 3 minutes.
Gold stands, spreads his arms, Christ on the cross. A Chinese tailor enters, begins to measure.
So you like architecture. Why not be an architect?
Well, I guess...
I'll tell you why not. There's no challenge in those things. Real estate sales, that's where the adrenaline gets pumping.
An agent enters, frantic. She brandishes a contract.
My client is threatening to get his attorneys involved.
Well, that's a first. Call your client and tell them that that's just fine, but if they do that, you will no longer be able to speak to them, and they will be contacted by your attorney, who is a retired judge from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, where he sat for 30 years rendering legal opinions on real estate law.
Is that true?
Make the call.
The agent leaves.
What did you say?
I want to help people obtain their dream.
Well, that's not bad. Obtain their dream. Where did you see that?
Well, I didn't see it. It's how I feel.
Let me tell you something about this business. It's not about architecture or dreams. It's about money. We put ourselves in the middle of a lot of money, and when it's all over, we see what sticks. You understand that concept?
I'm not sure.
What's your financial goal?
Financial goal?
How much money do you expect to make selling real estate?
I hadn't really thought about it.
Will you draw your client base from your sphere of influence?
I don't understand.
How are you going to get clients?
I don't know.
Are you an order taker or a deal maker?
What?
Have you been in sales before?
No.
Can you handle people?
Handle people? In what way?
Sometimes a little convincing. A push in a certain direction is needed.
I can't lie to someone if that's what you mean.
To be honest with you, I don't condone lying of any kind. At Parker Gold, we strive to maintain the highest standard of integrity. What kind of car do you drive?
I don't have a car.
Oh, thought I turned it off. Gotta take this. Wayne! Golf! I think I might be able to work that in this weekend.
Ethan walks away. He stares at the view. The city seems far away, remote. The crowded sidewalks below, a distant blur. Powers fast paces past reception, cell phone to his head.
I need at least $20 million of equity financing in 2 phases. 10 up front, 10 at the back end. I don't care where it comes from.
Hello, Mr. Powers.
Is Gold in his office?
Yes, in a meeting.
An agent, Brooke, leaves her office, trails after him.
If you can't put it together in 2 weeks, I won't need the money. Okay, call me back to confirm.
Hello, Nick. I thought your presentation was great today.
Thanks.
I'd like to see you if you have any time.
I told you this morning.
I just thought... It's okay.
Look, we're just fucking each other. We agreed to that from the start.
I know, so fuck me tonight.
I can show it in about an hour. Hold on. Hey, Powers, congratulations on that Sumitomo deal. Awesome. That's right, in about an hour.
Nick?
I'll call you. Powers. Outstanding. Get the docs going.
The tailor leaves. Gold joins Ethan at the window.
Things probably don't look the same after seeing them from here.
Yes. Everything looks very small. You know,
Ethan.
Ethan, I have to be honest. We're not looking for any new agents right now. Now, I don't want to discourage you, but this really is a tough business. Real estate sales may not be the right choice for you.
Gold opens the door. Powers enters.
How are you, Nick?
Better than perfect. You?
No complaints.
You two know each other?
This is my brother.
You never told me you had a brother.
You never asked.
I see you changed your name. Powers has a little more juice than Rialto, right?
What are you doing here?
Following your footsteps.
What's the old man gonna say about that?
Nothing. He died 5 years ago.
Powers walks to the window, stares at the skyline. The city fades away. A shack, barely passing as basic shelter. The broken screen door kicks open, and a young, poorly dressed Nick appears on the decaying porch. A drunken man staggers behind, clutches the rail, almost falls down the steps. A young boy tries to help, but the drunk pushes him away. Nick storms out of the yard, never looking back. Powers stares at the skyline.
I'll see you around, Nick.
Ethan turns to leave.
Wait. I need an assistant. Come back tomorrow morning.
I'm not looking for a handout.
You'll earn it.
Ethan starts to approach Powers, but stops. Powers keeps his back to him.
See you tomorrow, Nick.
He's not cut to play the game, you know that.
That's my problem. Do me a favor. I don't want anyone to know we're related.
Sure, Nick, sure. It won't leave this room.
Powers wipes steam off the bathroom mirror. A cigarette dangles from his mouth.
15 million. Is that too much to pay? I don't think so. 15 million.
He chokes down a shot of Johnny Blue.
Is that too much to pay?
He fills the glass, shoots another shot.
I don't fucking think so.
Powers rummages through his closets.
You promised me the loan docs would be ready for signing next week.
It's looking more like 3 weeks.
Well, that's not acceptable.
No one's going to turn a $25 million loan faster. Take it or leave it.
Powers picks a gray Xenia, goes to the shoe rack.
I don't care if he's in a meeting. He can at least return my calls.
I'll pass a message on, Mr. Powers.
He picks a pair of Kenneth Coles. The tie rack rolls by.
Mr. Gold wants you to know that your board dues have not been paid.
I'm too busy to keep up with that bullshit. Just take it out of my next deal.
That's not company policy.
He cinches the knot.
Tell Gold he'll get his money. Hello?
Powers wraps a Patek Philippe around his wrist, puts on his coat, checks his image in the dressing mirror carefully. His suit is wrinkled, his tie not quite right.
Better than perfect.
Parker Gold. Ethan enters, carrying several boxes of office supplies.
She's in a meeting right now. Can I give you her voicemail? Can I help you?
Do you know where my desk is?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I'm Nick Powers' new assistant.
They're all in the lunchroom. Sales meeting. Parker Gold, yes, that's right, 31st floor.
Where's the lunchroom?
Follow the herd.
Ethan enters the office lunchroom, a large, dimly lit space packed with agents grouped in pairs. Eyes closed, each feels the face of another. Ethan scans the well-dressed group for a friendly face. There are none.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Be one.
This is such bullshit.
Focus. That's it. Feel the inner you through another. Create the perfect fit. Lights.
Fluorescent tubes flare on. Gold points to an agent. When are you planning on moving?
Not strong enough again.
When are you planning on moving?
It's not a question.
When are you planning on moving?
Good. You.
When are you planning on moving?
When are you planning on moving?
When are you planning on moving?
Good, good. All of you. With enough practice, control of the conversation can be achieved simply by the tone of your voice. Don't ever underestimate the power of suggestion. Now, down to business. Anita?
Effective immediately, you will be allowed 10 copies per day. Anything above that, and you will be charged.
10 copies a day? That's ridiculous.
Ethan looks for the source of the complaint, sees only the back of the agent.
The company just had a record year. How do you expect us to be more productive by hampering our ability to reproduce documents?
The cream of the crop of Parker Gold is represented in this room. Industry leaders. I'm sure that I can count on all of you for your cooperation in this matter. You know the rules. Phones turned off during meetings. $25 fine. One final thing. I want to introduce a new agent. Everyone, make him feel at home. He's working for Nick Powers. There he is, back there. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, It's nice to be here.
Where did you come from?
I was born in San Francisco.
No. What company were you with?
Oh, this is my first time.
I'm sure everyone's thrilled to have you on board. Okay, people, let's close some escrows. Remember, flatliners are not rewarded.
Excuse me.
She writes on a large board fastened to a wall behind Ethan. The board, a list of agents' names along with property addresses, dollar amounts, all in column form. At the top of the list, Nick Powers.
Transaction board. Mr. Gold believes the road to success is achieved through competition. Please follow me.
Anita and Ethan walk down a long hallway.
I manage this office for Mr. Gold. Copy machines, obviously. Operation is self-explanatory. And remember...
10 copies a day.
Yes, that's correct.
They walk along the hallway past a very large glass-walled conference room containing a long wood table ringed with chairs.
What goes on in there?
That is Mr. Gold's private conference room and is not to be used by anyone except for Mr. Gold.
Really? Why is that?
The transactions that take place in that room are far beyond the scope of the average agent.
Private offices surround an open area filled with empty cubicles.
The bullpen. This is where you'll be. Right outside Mr. Powers' office.
Which desk?
Anyone you want. No one stays very long.
They move into private offices?
That seldom happens. Usually they just disappear.
Oh, that won't happen to me.
Any questions?
You don't think much of real estate agents, do you?
Agents come and go. The company remains.
Ethan picks a cubicle, sits down. He feels the smoothness of the barren desktop. He opens a drawer, neatly arranges his office supplies inside. Ethan places the telephone within reach, leans back in the chair, then springs forward, grabbing the handset. He tries it from another position, then another. Ethan grabs his phone, then realizes it is ringing several cubicles over.
Hello, Mrs. Williams? Yes, that's right. How are you? Did you receive the information that I sent you? Yes. Did that answer all your questions? Mrs. Williams, have you made a decision who you're going to list the property with? I see. Was there a particular reason you chose them? No reason? Is there something I could have done to... Hello? Mrs. Williams? Fucking real estate.
Ethan looks at the clock on the wall. 9:03. The clock now reads 11:10. Ethan looks up as Powers enters his office.
Hey, Nick, what's up?
Nothing.
I didn't see you at the meeting this morning.
I don't have time to waste listening to Gold spout his new age bullshit.
Okay. Well, where should I start?
I'll let you know. Powers.
The clock on the wall, 5:35 and counting. Ethan sits at his desk waiting. A janitor pushes a vacuum around his desk. As the janitor leaves, he dims the lights. The blinds around Powers' office are down. Light shines through the cracks. Crystal enters the bullpen, smiles as she walks past Ethan. She enters Powers' office, closing the door behind her. Ethan sits at his cubicle in semi-darkness, watching shadows move behind the blinds. He gets up, puts his coat on, and leaves. A bus pulls away from the curb, leaving Ethan at the stop. He walks along the sidewalk. Ethan enters his apartment lobby, followed closely by two Asian men. As he checks his mail, one of the men knocks on an apartment door. Ethan displays a handful of paper.
I just won the lottery.
They stare at Ethan. He tosses the junk mail into a trash can, presses the call button for the elevator. The apartment door opens. An Asian woman greets the men. As they enter, the smoke-filled room is exposed. A rowdy crowd surrounds a gaming table. The woman looks at Ethan for a moment, then slowly closes the door. Ethan jabs the call button repeatedly. No elevator. He climbs the dimly lit stairwell. Ethan enters the small apartment, carefully takes his coat and tie off. He puts on a heavy winter coat, grabs a couple of beers from the refrigerator, leaves. Ethan walks onto the roof. He pops open a beer, strolls along the parapet wall, taking in the view. A shimmering skyline extends in every direction. Franklin Harwood stands on the edge of the parapet, looking down. Ethan climbs up next to him.
Nice view. You could definitely damage yourself. Beer?
When the city sleeps, you can see the relationship between its elements in a way that can't be seen during the day.
I don't think about buildings that way.
It's not just buildings. It's people living their lives in their own space.
Something brushes against Ethan's leg. Harwood's cat, Tiger. The cat lays down between the men.
He likes you. The animals can always tell. They're still in touch with their basic instincts. They're not burdened by all the bullshit.
So, you thinking about...
Ethan motions a swan dive.
It'd be a fitting irony.
Ethan waits, but Harwood is not forthcoming. The two stand in silence. Ethan nurses his beer.
This isn't so high. I was in a building today that felt like I was floating over the city.
Randall.
What?
The Randall building. See that structure? That's the Hublin. First skyscraper in the city. Steel frame construction. They said it couldn't be done. But there it is today. Still standing. It changed people's lives forever. Their perception was altered. The mind expanded and moved out of the two-story box. The Russ building, the Bennington, the Alcazar, the Randall. 52 stories, 500,000 square feet, reaching for the sky.
How do you know about that building?
I'll show you.
Harwood leads Ethan to a large opening in the roof. Ethan leans over, peers into a bottomless air shaft that penetrates the building's interior. Harwood starts down a narrow iron ladder fixed to the side of the shaft. Ethan hesitates.
Well?
He reluctantly follows. They climb down the ladder and enter Harwood's apartment through an open window. Harwood turns on a light, revealing Model City.
A scale reproduction of the downtown area at the time of construction. Here are the original facade drawings. As you can see, they're slightly different than the final, as built.
How did you get these?
I drew them. You see, the biggest problem with the site was the height limitation.
You drew them?
Yes. Yes.
What, you worked for the architect?
I am the architect. Now you see the irony of a high-rise architect jumping from a 6-story building. As I was saying, the height limitation required a variance for a project of this scale.
A detailed drawing of a small cottage is spread across the drafting table. Harwood notices Ethan's interest.
Garage edition. Keeps the bills paid.
Harwood sweeps the drawing aside.
I'm working on something big. The next 30 to 60 days, you'll see.
The money must be good.
Material wealth comes and goes. Change the skyline and you will live forever. Once you've had a taste of that, everything else rings false. You just have to remember one thing. Eventually you fall.
At one end of the room, surrounded by his entourage, Floyd Ferguson, architect. At the other, Powers and Gold. Between the opposing parties, a scale model of the palace buildings rises from stacks of blueprints spread across the massive conference table.
I'm not sure I understand the problem here.
Well, it can't be built. The site footprint won't permit a structure of this height. If we scale back
the density level of the project is not negotiable. Financial projections are based on a design of this magnitude.
Financial projections do not supersede engineering fundamentals. The current design is not feasible.
Well, I have an engineer's report that says it is.
Agents scurry past the conference room, trying to get a glimpse of the players. The woman walks past. She does not peer in like the others. Powers watches her fade away.
Nick, feel free to jump in.
What?
The structural engineer's report.
Powers shuffles through a stack of papers. He slides a thick packet across the table to Ferguson. Ferguson ignores the report. He counters with his own document.
What is this?
It's a copy of your current account balance. As you can see, we haven't been paid in quite some time.
So you're saying this is a bill for a building that can't be built?
We were given a list of requirements that we addressed in a design.
A design, by your own words, that is not feasible.
Let's not waste time pointing fingers. It's our understanding that the city won't issue a demolition permit.
We have expediters working on that.
A permit expediter will tell you they can obtain a permit to build on the moon.
Let's build it there. Last I heard, lots were going pretty cheap.
You may have a cavalier attitude about this project, but we certainly don't.
My attitude is not what you've been hired to assess. If you don't have the skills or the talent to solve these design problems, there are plenty of architectural firms that would be more than happy to be commissioned for a project of this scale.
You have our opinion. Unless changes are made in the overall structure of the project, the firm of Ferguson and Johnson has no interest in proceeding with the towers, and we will pursue whatever legal means are necessary to collect all outstanding sums due.
Ferguson's assistant begins to roll up the drawings. Another picks up the model. Powers wrestles the model away from the assistant.
We paid for this, asshole. It stays.
Ferguson and his staff exit.
Nick, you know I love you like you were my own son. But you need to control that temper. Now I'm going to have to call him and kiss his ass to get him to come back to the table.
Architects are a dime a dozen, Jack.
So are real estate agents.
Gold leaves. The model of the palace looms over Powers. Ethan sits at his desk, shuffling piles of paper. At the next cubicle, the unknown agent is on the phone.
Yes, I know. If you don't sign that addendum, then we're out of contract. If we get out of contract, we'll lose the property.
Through a gap in the cubicle partitions, Ethan catches a glimpse of the unknown agent's hand nervously tapping the desktop.
I know you're paying a lot for the property, but the seller wants to... You don't care what the seller wants. I've put a lot of time into making this happen. Hello? Hello?
The phone slams down. Desk chair pushes back.
Fucking real estate!
The unknown agent's footsteps fade away. Ethan takes the pile of paper, stuffs it into a drawer. He gets up and moves around to the unknown agent's desk. The space is definitely occupied by a cubicle dweller. Stacks of paper surround a laptop computer. A cordless headset lays across the keyboard. Coffee cup stain rings are stamped onto every flat surface. The felt walls are punctured by dozens of colorful pushpins holding up property statements, restaurant-to-go menus, family pictures. A bumper sticker proclaims, "We provide housing." Ethan looks at Powers' office. The blinds are down. He pushes the door back, looks in. Empty. He hesitates, then enters, closes the door behind him. Ethan stands in the center of the large office, taking it all in. Modern art on the wall, books neatly arranged on a shelf, the desktop, barren, not even a telephone. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city. Powers enters, cell phone to his head.
Let me get back to you.
What's the deal? You said we were going to work together.
We will, when the time is right.
I'm ready to go now. Tell me what I need to do.
Ethan, it's taken me years to get here. You think you just show up, press a few palms, and you're in? What are you doing to make it happen?
I've got some good leads.
From where?
Cold calling.
Cold calling. The "when are you planning on moving" bullshit. The only people raking in money with that crap are the ones preaching seminars to suckers like you. Real estate is about knocking them down one at a time and making sure you're the one squeezing the trigger.
Powers shuffles through files. The audience is over.
If you want me to leave, just say so.
Powers ignores the remark, continues to read a contract. Ethan walks toward the door, stops.
When I signed on, I made a commitment to myself that I'd be the best this company has ever seen, with or without your help.
Really? You willing to pay the price?
Yes.
You don't know what you're saying. So be it.
Powers pulls a wadded piece of paper out of the trash can, tosses it to Ethan.
Response card. I don't have time for this shit. It's all yours.
Ethan stares at the crumpled ball in his hand.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks. I'll call right now.
Ethan walks along a row of rundown Victorian homes. Neighbors eye him suspiciously. The only suits in this neighborhood are policemen and Jehovah's Witnesses. Ethan checks an address on a notepad. In front of him is the biggest loser on a block of losers. He enters the yard. Toys and broken beer bottles line the walkway. A Harley-Davidson is chained to a stair post. Ethan steps gingerly over several missing floorboards on the rickety porch. The door opens, and a young child appears.
Hello.
The child is quickly replaced by a rough-looking man.
What do you want?
I'm Ethan Rialto with Parker Gold.
Who?
Ethan Rialto, Parker Gold. I have an appointment.
Appointment? This ain't no doctor's office.
I spoke to Layla.
A very large woman joins the man and child.
It's all right. That there's the real estate man.
Real estate man? What you doing talking to a real estate man?
I told you we're gonna sell this house and that's it. Now you let him in or we're gonna go round and round right here.
The man inches aside, barely allowing Ethan entry.
Remember one thing. You be the real estate man, but I be the homeowner man.
I'll remember that.
Don't need no real estate man, 'cause I ain't moving.
Lila leads Ethan through the clutter. Living room. The inside is worse than the outside. Every corner strewn with trash. The walls and ceiling alternate between peeling paint and missing plaster. Kitchen. Barely discernible as one. Hallway.
One bedroom here and another over there. Kids' room. My bedroom is upstairs. Don't you want to see it?
No, I can visualize it.
The $2 tour ends in the living room with homeowner man on a worn couch.
You seen this? Got me the video. It's real good.
We gotta move. It's too expensive to live here. He's been out of work for... How long you been out of work? How long you been out of work? What you do that for? Can't you see I'm working with the real estate man?
I ain't moving.
Ethan and Lila sit at a table in what was once a formal dining room, now a makeshift nursery. Forms are neatly laid out in several piles.
This is a market analysis for your property.
A market what?
Market analysis. We take comparable sales over the last 6 months and...
How much money am I going to get?
With proper marketing, around $500,000.
That's all? Another real estate man, he came around and told me the property is worth a lot more than that. How am I going to pay all my bills if I sell it so cheap? I need me a new car. Who going to pay for that?
Real estate man probably drive a nice new fancy car.
You're going to make a lot of money selling my house. It don't seem fair.
The commission breaks down like this. It's split between my company and the agent's company that represents the buyer.
Okay.
Then it's split again between myself and my company.
Right.
Then expenses such as advertising are taken out.
Okay.
What's left is taxed. So, what do you think?
I ain't signing nothing. Still seems like a lot of money for just selling a house. Tell you what, bring me an offer and maybe we can do some business.
Defeated, Ethan stares at a clock on the wall with a poor rendition of the Last Supper on its face.
Let them go forth and spread the word.
Ain't it wonderful? 3 o'clock is my favorite. He set his people free.
Ultra-modern living. Powers enters his loft.
In the morning? Fax it to me now. Make sure you get the deposit increased.
I'm in here, Nick.
Powers enters the kitchen. Crystal sorts groceries.
Great timing. I was just getting ready to call you.
What are you doing here?
My client canceled, so I thought we could eat in tonight.
I just stopped by to change. I'm going out.
You just got here, and you want to leave?
Powers ignores her, walks away. Powers enters the bedroom, begins to get undressed. Crystal follows close behind.
We can always skip dinner.
Powers continues to ignore her.
Nick, what's wrong?
Nothing. I got a lot of things going on, that's all.
What can I do to help?
It's under control.
It's not under control.
Once I get past the Palace project, I'll have more time. We'll go somewhere, do something.
There's always one more project.
You're in the business. You know what it's like.
Yes, I know. It's an emotional roller coaster ride.
That's right. You don't stop it because you're uncomfortable.
I make choices. I set boundaries. I don't let the deal control my life.
The deal is everything. The day you lose sight of that is the day it steamrolls right over you.
Brooke enters, smile on her face, key in hand.
I was just dropping off a market analysis. Hope you don't mind I let myself in.
Crystal looks at Brooke, then Powers, waits for a response. There is none. She grabs her coat, pauses at the door.
That was a great speech you made at the meeting, Nick. But you got it wrong. A home isn't about hardwood floors and granite slabs. It's about people sharing their lives, building a future together. A home is where the heart lives. That's something you don't have to worry about.
Crystal leaves. Brooke stays.
Nick Powers. Yes. How are you?
Powers watches as Brooke begins to get undressed.
Great time to sell.
Ethan puts on a tie, grabs his coat, leaves his apartment. He walks down the hallway, past Hip Hop, to Harwood's door.
Hey, Harwood, you in there?
He writes a note, slips it under the door, leaves. In the apartment, Harwood sits at his drafting table, stares out the window. A bus pulls to the curb. Ethan gets off, carrying open house A-board signs. Lila and the kids leave as Ethan enters the yard. They pile into a car. The children wave goodbye as the car speeds away. Ethan drags the A-boards up a very steep street. He stops at a corner to chalk an address on one of the boards. Further up the street, he chalks another board. A car slows down to read the sign, speeds up the hill. In front of Lila's house, cars are double parked on the street and in the driveway. A line of people crowd the steps to get in. Ethan pushes his way through, fumbles for the keys, trying several without success. The last key opens the door. The crowd pushes past him into the house. In the entry, he flips on a light switch. It doesn't work. He tries a window shade. It crumbles in his hand. In the living room, homeowner man watches TV.
What are you doing here?
I'm not leaving for no open house.
Ethan stands in the entry, handing out statements as people wander through.
I'm sorry, what?
3個。真嘅，我淨係數咗2個啫喎，第3個喺邊啊？
Can you repeat that?
可唔可以賣平啲啊？
Maybe you can write it down?
我諗佢開好高呢間價錢個屋㗎。做咩賣咁貴
Have you been looking long?
2樓嗰個房鎖住咗，有啲乜嘢喺入邊啊？
Is this what you want? A statement?
呢個係咪 probate sale 嚟㗎？
乜嘢叫做 probate sale 啊？
我諗佢係咪問有冇人喺入邊死過喺間屋入邊？
個樓主俾人謀殺，我啱啱向樓上見到個男人，佢講我聽佢係個樓主嚟㗎喎。
如果樓主係死咗嘅話，咁你見到嗰個唔係鬼？
All eyes are on the ceiling. Homeowner man descends the steps, tightening his belt. He approaches Ethan, takes him aside.
You keeping an eye on these people? I think they're stealing.
Ethan folds his A-board at the curb. Powers pulls over in a red Corvette, top down. Powers, too.
You get it sold?
Not today. Want to see it?
No. The smell is enough for me.
What, did you come out here just to bust my balls?
Powers ignores Ethan. He watches an approaching figure, an old man dragging a cane. He rests for a moment against the fence, then continues up the hill. The old man reaches the front gate of Lila's house, sits on the steps. His fingers slide along a concrete retaining wall, searching. He traces a pair of worn letters in the decaying cement.
You see that? That's me. Carved them when I was a kid. My old man got pissed off, but good. I'm not a buyer. Couldn't afford it if I wanted to. I'll get that right out front. Saw the old place was for sale. Wanted to see how it looked. Can I go in?
He just locked up.
I tried to get here sooner, but that hill's a lot steeper than I remember.
Come on, I can let you in.
Really?
We were just leaving.
Well, that's all right then. Guess I don't need to see it. It's funny, you know. We got along good when we was kids. Not like today. Everything's all changed. Guess it's true what they say.
Yeah? What's that?
You can't go back.
Get in. Now? Get in the fucking car. Let's go.
The old man watches the Corvette fade in the distance. He sits on the steps, feeling his initials on the wall. The Corvette speeds through traffic.
You were kind of harsh with the old guy.
Time taker.
What?
Fucking time taker. You need to understand something, or just get out of the business right now. The most important asset you have is your time. It's a constant struggle for control of it. People will take and take and take until nothing is left.
Heavy street traffic rumbles past the Palace project site. The Corvette pulls to the curb. Powers points to a large sign spiked onto the side of the palace several stories up. Urban Classic Living. Future site of the Palace Towers. 1,260 luxury condominiums. Architect, Ferguson and Johnson. Developer, Parker Gold. Exclusive agent, Nick Powers. They climb out of the Corvette, walk along the trash-littered sidewalk to the boarded entry. A heavy chain wrapped around a new plywood door. No trespassing, prominently stamped across it. Powers snaps the lock with a key, jerks the chain loose. They enter the building. In darkness, Powers fumbles along a wall, pulls a flashlight from a recess in the crumbling plaster. He shines the light on the space around them. It is a grand, formal entry hall, ornately decorated in period detail. Water rains from the ceiling. They move in silence, stepping around piles of garbage, fallen plaster, murky pools of water. They walk down a long hallway, lined with graffiti-spattered rooms.
People actually lived here. Like this, like animals.
They walk onto the roof. Ethan follows Powers closely as they maneuver around gaping holes. They reach the edge.
From this point, you can see the scope of the project.
Ethan takes in the area indicated by Powers. 1 square block of low-rise tenement buildings, including the building where Ethan lives.
We acquired the site for almost nothing.
How much is almost nothing?
3.2.
Lot of money.
It was a steal.
Why are you doing this?
Change. The project is going to change this neighborhood.
Is it that simple? Change?
It'll be good for the neighborhood.
Don't give me that bullshit. You don't care about the people that live here. To you, they're just part of the problem, like this building. Trash to haul away.
Are you up to this or not? Because if you're not, I need to know right now.
Ethan walks away, stops. After a long moment, turns, faces Powers.
I can do it.
That's better. Let's get a popsicle.
A local dive across the street from the Palace site. A bartender places 2 shot glasses on the bar top, pours Johnny Walker.
I see you've acquired one of the old man's tastes.
JW is in the genes.
What happened to pace yourself?
Drink up. You're in real estate. 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the morning. It's all the same. You're on 24/7.
They down the shots. The bartender pours. Powers raises his glass.
To the future. And not remembering all the bullshit.
Powers shoots the shot, slams the glass on the bar top. He studies the empty glass. The lighting shifts. The bar seems brighter, cleaner, sharper. Sitting beside Powers, 2 children intently focused on drawings they are creating. Fascinated, he watches. One of the children looks up at him, smiles politely, then goes back to sketching.
Do you still draw?
Draw?
Ethan stares at his own image in the back bar mirror.
I haven't drawn anything in years. I wanted to be an architect. Sounds crazy now.
You had talent. The old man recognized that.
Powers and the children watch as a man picks up one of the drawings, pins it to the back bar. Grinning, the children continue to sketch. Powers looks around. The children are gone. The woman sits in the middle of the bar. She watches Powers. He looks away.
See that woman? You see her?
Ethan looks down the bar. Several patrons block his view.
Where?
No, don't look. Don't let her see you looking.
What does she look like?
She's beautiful. I want to talk to her, but she won't let me get close.
Playing hard to get.
Ethan looks again, but only sees a heavy-set patron guzzling beer.
She thinks my life is somewhere else, but she doesn't understand. I'm here, trapped with no control.
Ethan peers around the drunk sitting at the bar. No one is sitting on the stool.
Let's get some air.
Powers slaps a wad of cash on the counter. Powers and Ethan approach the Corvette.
Need a ride?
This is home.
Ethan motions to one of the buildings designated for demolition.
Why didn't you tell me?
You never asked. There are lots of things you never asked about.
I didn't know I...
Don't worry about it. I got your eviction notice.
Powers. Yes, the property is still available. 30 minutes. Gotta go.
Ethan shifts papers at his desk. He rises, walks over to the unknown agent. The cubicle is empty. All personal items removed. Gold enters the bullpen.
Is Nick around?
No. What happened here?
Couldn't cut it. Some people just don't understand. Real estate is not for everyone. Oh, by the way, congratulations on getting your listing in contract. Very impressive for a new agent. Nick helping you?
No. I'll get the deal closed on my own.
Never refer to it as a deal. At Parker Gold, it's a transaction.
I'll keep that in mind. Nick toured me through the Palace site.
Really? I'm surprised. He's usually very protective of his things.
He said you were having problems with the architect. I know someone who'd be great for the project.
Who is it? I've talked to every firm in this town.
Franklin Harwood.
Harwood? Is he still alive? I thought they pulled his license years ago.
His view of architecture really impressed me.
Well, he has vision, I'll give you that. He's also a loose cannon. His projects have bankrupted some of the largest developers in the country. The man has no concept of money. His only goal is to build, to create. A man like that scares me.
I think we should at least listen to him.
What does Nick say?
I haven't told him.
Really? This is just between you and me? I like that. Take some balls to go around, Nick.
I'm not trying to go around him. This would be a good move for the company.
Yeah, for the company. Yeah. Well, let me think about it. Oh, by the way, a friend of mine is going to sell his house. He needs a good listing agent. Here's his number. See how easy real estate is?
Ethan sits at the dining room table watching Lila and homeowner man square off.
You're gonna have to move.
I ain't moving.
These people are gonna pay a lot of money for this dump, and you're screwing it up.
I told you when this man showed up that I was not moving.
I'm sure we can work this out. Can I talk to you outside?
Go ahead, you two. Plot all you want. I know my rights. Got me a lawyer.
Now why you go and get a lawyer for?
Let's go outside. I'm sure your husband will be cooperative once he cools down.
My husband? You think I'm married to that fool?
I thought he was your husband.
You're crazy if you think I'm sleeping with him. He rents a room in the basement, and he's behind on his rent. I'm gonna evict his ass. On the street.
He's a tenant?
Tenant? Yeah, that's what he is. So?
As a tenant, he has rights.
I got my rights.
Shut up. What? Is that a problem?
You can't vacate a tenant in possession because you sell the property. The buyers made their offer thinking the house was going to be delivered vacant.
Now you sound like some kind of lawyer.
I'm sure we can work this out.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill that man.
Ethan pulls shredded paper from the guts of a copy machine. Powers enters.
Hot in here.
It's always hot in here.
Powers stares as Ethan loads a fresh ream of paper into the tray.
Blank. Clean. Ready to be burned into contracts, disclosures, addendums, reports, lies. Each sheet a bullet made to fire at you.
Ethan tries the copier. It jams.
Fuck! I'm never gonna close this deal.
You know the way to get it closed? Money. Whatever the problem is, money will solve it. Call your clients, make the deal work.
I didn't think it was gonna be like this.
Welcome to real estate.
Financial district at noon. Peak population density. The sidewalk is teeming with suits, cell phones pressed to their heads. Powers and Ethan exit their building, join the herd.
It was rough giving up your commission, but you did the right thing. You got it closed. Ideals, helping people, that all evaporates when you start grinding the deal.
He freezes in mid-step to take the call. The river of suits flows around him.
Powers. Yeah, I can barely hear you. That's better. The financing fell through. You told me it was a no-brainer. Wall Street money. It didn't meet the hurdle requirement? It didn't meet the hurdle requirement. It didn't meet the hurdle requirement. You tell those motherfuckers to shove the hurdle requirement up their ass!
Powers smashes his cell phone against a granite slab wall. Plastic splinters fall out of his hand. He turns to a suit standing at the curb waiting to cross, cell phone to his head. Powers gets in his face. The man avoids eye contact with Powers.
It didn't meet their hurdle requirement. Hello? I'm talking to you.
Powers peels the cell phone away.
Can you hear me now?
He tosses it into traffic. Shaken, the man watches helplessly as his cell is crushed. Ethan tries to restrain Powers. Powers pushes him away. He rips another cell phone out of a passing woman's hand.
Hurdle requirement! How could it not exceed it?
He skips the cell across a pond of car hoods. Powers moves along the sidewalk, ripping cell phones loose, tossing them wildly, leaving a wake of stunned people. Several brave souls take him down.
Let go of me, you motherfuckers!
As he struggles, he sees the woman in the back of a traffic-stalled taxi. Ethan tries to pull the growing crowd off Powers, but is knocked to the ground. On the sidewalk in front of him, Powers' shattered cell.
Hello?
Ethan meets with clients under bright fluorescent lights of a conference room. Nick sits in a dark, smoky dive, an empty shot glass in front of him. A for sale sign is being installed on the facade of a small house. Across the sign, Ethan Rialto's name rider. Surrounded by empty beer bottles and fast food trash, Nick is sprawled across a couch watching a buy property with no money down infomercial. The transaction board. Ethan's name appears at the bottom. Nick sits in a chair staring at the view, smoking a cigarette. He ignores it, continues to stare. Ethan meets with a young couple in front of a nice house. They shake hands. Nick, unshaven and poorly dressed, stumbles past several empty parking stalls. He takes a long pull from a bottle of Johnny Walker. A tow truck pulls Nick's Porsche, Powers 3, out of a stall. He jumps aside as the tow truck rushes past, dragging the Porsche, a captured beast. The transaction board. Ethan's name has moved up the list. Nick confronts a large man who has jimmied the door of Nick's Mercedes, Powers 1. He presents Nick with a stack of papers. Nick scans the documents. A for sale sign goes on another house, this one grander than the last. The Ethan Rialto name rider is now larger than the Parker Gold script. Nick wrestles the large man, gets in the car, drives away. Gold shakes hands with Ethan as movers haul furniture into a large private fishbowl. Ethan stands with the city's skyline behind him. The Mercedes speeds along a busy street. Nick grips the wheel tightly, speeds through a light. He drains the Johnny Walker, tosses it out, punches a call in the cell.
Hello, this is Crystal. Hello?
Hey, it's me.
How are you, Nick?
Better than perfect.
Why are you calling?
Read a story about a man. He had it all, but he didn't know it. The people in his life he didn't give a shit about. The universe centered around him and he could do no wrong. He was golden. But then it began to slip away. He couldn't understand why. One day he saw the look on their faces and he understood. He had become the stranger. I gotta go.
Nick.
Nick cuts the call. Crystal hangs up. Tears fall as she continues to work. Nick looks out to passing buildings, crowded sidewalks. The city presses in. He slows down. Stopped at a red light, a rush of pedestrians floods the intersection. He glances at the paperwork on the passenger seat. Green light. The Mercedes does not move. Nick gets out of the car, gently closes the door, walks away. A traffic jam builds behind the parked Mercedes. Nick stares at his naked image in the steamed mirror. He pours Johnny Walker Black, slams the shot, tosses the glass. Blood drips from a cut on his hand. Bedroom. Nick snorts a line of coke on the dresser.
Do you know how long it's been since payments have been made on the loan?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
That's not the answer I expect from you, Nick. As the general partner of the project, we have a fiduciary obligation to the partnership. You remember those words? Fiduciary obligation?
Yeah, I understand what it means. I put my life into this project, but there are things that I have no control over.
Nick razor blades a white mound.
The planning department is backed up. Contractors are busy. We can't get firm bids. We still don't have a set of plans.
Quite frankly, that sounds like a list of excuses, Nick.
They're all assholes. We need to cut everyone loose. Start from scratch, bring in new investors. I know I could get it done then.
That's impossible given the size of their financial interest in the project.
Buy them out.
With what? Where's the money gonna come from? How many banks have turned the project down?
Fuck the banks! I'm tired of their bullshit!
And I'm getting very tired of your bullshit. I want to see you in here today with some answers.
Gold punches the hands-free off, swivels his chair to face Ethan. Ethan has become the GQ poster boy, perfectly manicured, tailored to perfection.
I'm concerned about Nick. His ability to carry the project forward is in question.
I know there's a lot of money on the line.
It's not just the money. I want you to understand how important this project is to me. When completed, the towers will be the tallest in the city. My company, Parker Gold, will occupy those heights. I only wish Jeffrey Parker were here to see that day. This is a young man's game. I'm not always going to be around. Someone's got to carry on what's been built. Ethan, you've done well for yourself. What are you, 30?
31.
I don't have to tell you a project like the Palace spells early retirement. Stellar for those involved.
What's wrong?
Is that Armani?
Xenia.
That's the cut that had me guessing.
European. I thought I'd try something a little different, although I'm more partial to double-breasted.
I prefer classic myself. Nick made a lot of money for this company, but he's getting to be a rude pain in the ass. That's something I won't stand for.
Let me be clear about this. The palace will be built, with or without Nick.
Nick finishes the last of the Coke. He sits on the edge of the bed, wrestles a pair of socks, loses. He falls back, passes out. A massive yellow Hummer parks in the bus stop. Ethan exits, quickly scanning the old neighborhood. He climbs the steps to his former apartment building, peers through dirty glass. Asian men guard the shabby lobby. One at the entrance, the other in a chair, casually flipping through a magazine. The casual man gets up, lets him in. Ethan walks past them to the mailboxes. He searches for a moment, then moves to the elevator. An out-of-order sign is taped to the car. Nothing has changed. He takes the stairwell. The men watch as he ascends. He walks down the dimly lit hallway to Harwood's door.
Hello?
The familiar maze of architectural models. Light from the draughtsman's lamp shines like a sun over the miniature metropolis. Tiger is curled up in Model Park. Harwood is gone. Ethan works his way to the open window, climbs onto the fire escape. Ethan reaches the roof. Harwood sits on the parapet ledge. Ethan joins him. He hesitates for a moment, decides to stand.
Saw you coming.
Didn't know if you still lived here.
Got my notice, but I'm still here. Just me and the Chinese.
Harwood glances at Ethan.
You look like you're doing well. You didn't let him break you down?
Things are working out. I got a place off Broadway in Pacific Heights. Picked it up cheap. Needed cosmetics. Probably flip it on the market, make a couple of $100. Not bad for a 60-day turnaround.
I'm glad for you.
How are you doing? Anything going on?
Oh, there's always a project in the pipeline. Any day now, something's gonna break.
That's great. Keep me in mind if you need an agent.
Ethan extends a business card. Harwood does not accept.
Remember the night I met you up here? And what you said about buildings?
I've said a lot of things. Wasted a lot of oxygen.
I remember exactly what you said. When the city sleeps, you can see the relationship between its elements in a way that can't be seen during the day. That struck me.
What do you want?
Today's your lucky day. How would you like to present to the board of Parker Gold?
Harwood stares at the skyline for a long moment.
Sure. Why not? I've got one more dog and pony show left in me.
That's great.
Just one thing. Don't try to sell me. The sales pitch bullshit doesn't suit you.
Fair enough.
Harwood stands at the reception desk, rolled up drawings clutched under his arm.
He's not in. Please hold. You must be the architect.
Yes, you must be the receptionist.
Yes, please take a seat. I'm sure Mr. Rialto will be with you shortly.
I prefer to stand.
Harwood towers over the receptionist.
Wouldn't you be more comfortable over there?
No, this is fine.
I'll call Mr. Rialto right now to let him know you're here.
Thank you.
Parker Gold.
Ethan, dressed in Armani, enters.
Ethan Rialto. Yes, it's still available. $5 million, firm. Call my assistant to set up a showing. Thanks for coming in. All set? Good. It's showtime.
Harwood sits alone at one end of the long conference table. Gold and Ethan at the opposite end.
Are we waiting for additional personnel from your firm?
No, this is it.
Well, I must say I am surprised. A presentation for a project of this scope demands more than just one individual and a handful of drawings.
I was told that I would be presenting to a board.
Mr. Harwood, for all intents and purposes, I am the board. I make the decisions that guide this company.
Gold places his wind-up timer on the conference room table.
So, with introductions out of the way, amaze us.
Drawings of my work.
Very interesting, yes. Very interesting. There isn't anyone in the city who doesn't know your work. They were great structures in their day.
They still are.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, Mr. Harwood. I have neither the time nor the interest to debate. Ethan has gone out on a limb to convince me to listen to you. He seems to think you have something to offer.
Harwood spreads a drawing across the conference table. He looks up at Gold and Ethan, who remain in their chairs. He drags the drawing to their end. All eyes focus on the sophisticated design.
This is my concept for the palace. The design is not for a steel and glass monument, but for a structure that would allow the people in it to maximize their potential. A structure that would make you feel a part of it, organic in nature and design. The result, a composition of form that follows inspiration.
Lofty words. I'm not sure how they translate into a building design.
Words are important for any building's design, that they carry the soul of the structure.
Gold spreads a set of drawings over Harwood's.
Mr. Harwood, several prestigious firms have devoted a huge amount of man-hours on this project. I fail to see how you could possibly add anything of interest.
Here, and here. The massing is totally wrong. You aren't taking advantage of the building site.
Harwood swipes a pen from Gold, begins to ink a section.
By moving the horizontal load of Tower 2's footprint...
Nick enters, a shadow.
Sorry, I got tied up downtown.
This is Nick Powers. Nick, this is Franklin Harwood.
Harwood extends his hand in greeting. Nick extends his, complete with bandage.
That looks like a nasty cut, Nick.
Cut myself shaving.
Really?
As I was saying, a more efficient stress transfer can occur. Less material would be needed structurally. Diffusion of natural light would be the primary benefit. Each of the units would have more windows. More windows, more light.
Yes, I see.
The placement of towers 1 and 3 around open space and the conversion of several of the existing structures as low and mid-rise buildings would complete the design. Positioning of the elevator shafts is critical for...
I don't like it.
What's the problem?
The whole thing. It sucks.
That's very articulate. Is it the design element you object to?
It's not right for the neighborhood.
You've met with the neighbors?
They've been notified as the city requires.
I'm not talking about requirements. I'm talking about meeting face to face with the people who live there. Do you know their concerns? Do you know their needs?
Thank you, that's enough. Do you mind waiting outside while we talk this over? Leave the drawings. I can read blueprints.
You can't make a decision just by reading the blueprints.
Nick, show Mr. Harwood to reception. Oh, just a minute. Here's some reading material while you're getting Mr. Harwood a cup of coffee. I was served this morning. Notice the default. I don't need to tell you what follows default. And get cleaned up. You don't look so good.
Nick stands in the hallway for a moment, watching Gold and Ethan. Relaxed, Gold laughs loudly at an unheard joke. Nick walks away. Searchlight beams crisscross over an ornately decorated dome supported by massive Roman columns. Stretch limos discharge their passengers. A large crowd dressed in formal attire moves toward the music. The crowd scatters as a motorcycle jumps the curb. Nick, dressed in greasy motorcycle leathers, gets off the bike. He enters the flow. Under the dome, fire breathers, jugglers, and acrobats perform as the crowd moves towards the grand hall. Nick stumbles along, almost causing a stilt walker to tumble. He looks up. A high-wire performer sways dangerously. Nick points.
I know what that's like.
A passing couple moves quickly away from Nick. An ancient fortune teller flips tarot cards. Nick ignores her, moves away quickly. 2 enormous iron doors push inwards. Nick enters the grand hall. The immense ballroom is filled with hundreds of people. On stage, a band rocks the throng. In the entry foyer, Gold, surrounded by his personal staff, holds court. Ethan stands behind him. A line of newly arrived guests waits to pay tribute. Nick dances to the front of the line, shocking the well-dressed invitees. Gold is deep in conversation with several clients. Nick slaps him across the back.
Hey, Gold! What's up?
Excuse me. I didn't know that Armani made mechanics overalls.
You don't like the look?
It's not what I like, but what I expect. I expect the top producers of this company to act and dress accordingly. Is that clear?
This is a party! You gotta loosen up!
Nick takes the hand of a passing woman.
Hello, Nick Powers. Welcome. Nice ass.
Embarrassed, the woman walks away.
What is wrong with you? Do you know who that was? You even realize what you're doing?
Yeah. Do you?
Come on, Nick. Let's join the party.
Get your hands off me.
Quite a party.
Harwood stands with the drink in his hand.
So nice to see you.
Thanks for inviting me.
I'm just glad you could be here. Are you getting enough to eat? Drink?
Everything's fine.
Good, good.
Guess I'll blend in.
We will talk later.
Harwood joins the surging crowd. Gold watches him for a moment.
Let the bastard have his 15 minutes.
What does that mean?
It means I've decided to use Harwood's plan, but not the man. Ferguson will execute.
Are you kidding?
Look at my face and ask me again.
Ferguson is a butcher. I wouldn't let him design a doghouse.
It doesn't matter. All he has to do is use Harwood's design. See the beauty of it? We already have Ferguson on retainer.
You knew about this.
Yes, I did. So what? What do you care about Harwood? You didn't like his design. You didn't even want to listen to him.
You're right. But you know what? He's the only real thing here.
This is not about reality. It's a matter of bottom line.
You don't understand. Harwood believes in what he does. It's all he has. You take that from him, it's stealing. It's worse than stealing. You're taking his soul.
Go ahead, tell him. But before you do, let's be crystal clear. You're hanging on by a thread. You haven't made a sale in over a year. Every day, people call me looking for you. You know what they want? Money. That includes the IRS. You need this to happen. Be happy. You'll get your piece of the pie, as Jeffrey Parker was so fond of saying.
Don't hand me that crap. There is no Jeffrey Parker. He never existed.
For a moment, a flicker of surprise crosses Gold's face.
Well done, Nick. Congratulations are in order.
Fuck you and your fucking real estate company.
Nick pushes past Ethan, disappears into the crowd.
I want his office vacated. I don't care if you put his shit on the street. He's out.
Gold turns to an approaching couple.
What a surprise! Look at the two of you. So glad that you could be here.
Nick moves aggressively through the crowd, motorcycle leather in a sea of Armani tuxedos and sequin dresses. At a packed bar, he leans across the counter, spilling drinks.
How about some service down here?
The bartender appears.
Shot of Jack and a beer.
As people move away from him, Nick sees Harwood at the end of the bar. Nick raises his glass.
To the future.
Harwood acknowledges the toast. The bartender pours another. Nick slides down the bar, joins Harwood.
There's nothing like a company party. People that would never give you the time of day suddenly become your best friend.
Nick raises his glass.
The future.
The future.
They down their drinks.
Again.
The bartender sloppily pours. Harwood raises his glass.
The future?
No past, no present.
The future.
Another round goes down. Ethan is on a mezzanine overlooking the crowded dance floor. He sees Crystal moving with the crowd, dancing with no one in particular. Provocatively dressed, the men around her compete for her attention as she sways suggestively to the music. She looks up at Ethan, locking eyes. She seems to be dancing for him. Ethan is riveted. She breaks off the dance floor, leaving broken hearts behind. She moves through the crowd, focused on Ethan. She climbs the mezzanine steps, joins him. Nick and Harwood stare at the empty glasses in front of them.
When I drink, everything becomes crystal clear. The natural order is apparent. Secrets of the universe revealed.
Drinking makes me sharp, too. Sharp as a wet noodle.
Does art imitate life, or is life a sloppy art form?
You're drunk.
I need to get home. I don't have time for this. Can you help me get a cab?
Sure. Come on.
Shoulder to shoulder, they stagger through the crowd. On the main floor, Gold prances from group to group. He sees Nick and Harwood stumbling towards the exit, moves to intercept.
Leaving so soon?
I'm sorry, so much to do. Nick's gonna help me get a cab.
Oh, that's nonsense. You're going home in a limo.
No, a cab is fine.
Oh, most people ride a limo twice in their life. Church when they marry, cemetery when they die. Take advantage of it while you can.
Nick and Harwood stagger through the courtyard.
Listen, I want you to know that I'm gonna do my best work on this project.
Yeah. Sure, I know you will.
The fortune teller appears, blocks their path.
That's all bullshit. Come on.
Nick pounds on the rear of a limo, pulling away from the curb. The limo stops. Nick opens the door.
Got one more for you, buddy.
Harwood hesitates before getting in.
I won't let you down.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I think you should know...
What?
A drunken passenger sticks his head out the open doorway.
Why don't you two say goodnight so we can leave?
Shut the fuck up.
The passenger tries to get out of the car. Harwood gets in between Nick and the passenger.
No trouble. Just a misunderstanding.
Harwood squeezes into the crowded interior. Through the back window, Nick fades into the distance. Nick watches the limo drive away. A woman walks out of the shadows past Nick. Startled by her appearance, Nick stares, frozen. She disappears in a blast of fire. A flame dancer blocks Nick's view. He pushes the dancer away. The woman reappears at the corner under a streetlight. Nick moves quickly, bolts across 4 lanes, jamming traffic. He reaches the corner. She walks down the sidewalk, moving away. He walks faster, closes the gap. She turns the corner. He turns the corner. She gets on a bus. The doors close behind her. He pounds on them, but the bus pulls away. He flags down a taxi.
Follow that bus.
The cabbie looks at him.
Out!
Nick searches his pockets. He offers all the cash he finds. The cabbie grabs it.
Now follow the fucking bus.
Nick lurches backwards as the taxi accelerates. Harwood sits uncomfortably between several male passengers. A woman is on her knees in front of one of them. Her head bobs up and down on his lap. A male passenger is sprawled on the floor, passed out. A couple gropes in the darkness at the front of the limo.
Speculator?
Developer. Pass me that bottle.
Harwood remains in his own world, watching the passing structures. The limo drops Harwood. A hard rain falls. He enters the building, trudges up the long flight of steps. He stands outside his apartment, fumbles for the key. Nothing. He pounds the neighbor's door. It opens. A deafening wall of sound greets him. He enters. Harsh lighting casts animated shadows across graffiti-trashed walls. Baseball caps and sports jerseys, rappers. Scantily clad women wander the room. Harwood approaches several men rapping with the music. He yells, his words drowned by the beat. One man points. Harwood squeezes through the crowded room. Harwood pulls a chain. A glaring light bulb swings back and forth. Over the rust-stained toilet, a window. He stands on the toilet, pries the window open, looks out. Across the shaft, a section of miniature skyline is visible through a partially open window. Model city. Below the window, darkness. Harwood awkwardly squeezes through the opening, lowers himself onto a narrow ledge. Balancing on the slippery projection, he reaches. The open window, just out of reach. He stretches farther, still out of reach. The window behind him slams shut. He tries to open it, jammed.
Hey! Anyone!
Harwood's pleas are drowned by the din. Nick is passed out in the back of the cab.
Hey, wake up!
The cabbie shakes him.
The bus is stopped.
Groggy, Nick watches as passengers step off. The woman is not one of them. The bus pulls away.
Keep going! Come on!
Reluctantly, the cabbie complies. Nick sees the woman across the street walking away.
Stop!
The cabbie slams on the brakes. Nick bolts. Frantic, he searches the dimly lit street, runs to the end of the block, turns the corner, stops. Nick stands frozen, stares with disbelief. In front of him, the condemned buildings of the Palace project site. The weathered marketing sign stares down at him. He searches the gutter, finds a bottle, heaves it. It shatters against the building. Something moves in the shadows. The woman. She enters the building, Nick close behind. He watches the shadow slowly ascend the steps. Harwood looks down. Darkness. He inches forward slowly, toward Model City. Nick reaches the top of the steps. The woman stands at the end of a long hallway. She smiles. Harwood loses his footing, begins to slip. Nick moves toward the woman, begins to run. Harwood flails desperately at the air. Within reach, the window ledge. He clamps on with both hands. Nick has almost reached the woman. She slowly turns, enters a room. The door closes behind her. Blood from scraped fingers runs down his arms as Harwood frantically tries to raise himself. Tiring, he begins to lose his grip. Nick is at the door, hesitant to enter. Harwood dangles from the ledge. Nick enters the room. The woman stands against a wall.
Who are you?
The wall crumbles, flooding the room with a blinding white light. A dark, massive shape glides past Nick. Wrecking ball. With outstretched arms, Harwood slips into darkness. He slams against the shaft bottom, lies still for a moment, struggles to raise his head. The water level rises. Shielding his eyes, Nick slowly approaches the gaping hole in the wall. Below, a wrecking crew eats away the structure. A large crane guides a 2-ton ball gracefully. The impact rocks Nick. Dust fills the air. In the basement, a crowd clusters around a gaming table, shouting in a heated moment of chance. A drop of water hits the table, then another. The baffled players look up. Water drips from the ceiling. Nick staggers out of the building. He runs, tries to escape the approaching lights. An ambulance speeds past him, stops near a growing crowd. Nick pushes his way through. A body on a gurney is being removed from the building. Something brushes against him. He looks down. Tiger looks up at him. A stack of documents is quickly thumbed through, the last page signed. Signature complete. The pen, a gold Mont Blanc, is placed on top and the orderly pile passed down the table. Another person signs, pushes paper and pen to the next. Once again, the ritual is completed. The stack makes one last stop. Ethan, sharply dressed, proudly displays the pen.
Lucky pen, gentlemen. Thank you for indulging me.
He signs, studies the signature.
Better than perfect.
Ethan sits at the large conference table with 3 well-dressed businessmen, bankers. The men rise, handshakes all around.
The funds will be deposited by wire transfer within 48 hours. We look forward to working with your firm.
That's awesome. It's just too bad that Jeffrey Parker wasn't here to witness this historic occasion.
The large auditorium is filled with well-dressed agents of the company. Gold steps to the podium, takes the microphone.
So good to see you all. It's hard to believe another year has slipped by. And what a magnificent one it's been. A record year for this great company, this wonderful family. Go ahead. You deserve it. Congratulate yourselves. It has become tradition at Parker Gold that Nick Powers deliver the year-end recap. I'm sorry to say that due to a previous engagement, Nick could not be here today. I understand that he's out there this very moment working on a deal. Knowing Nick, I'm sure it's a big one. Today's keynote will be delivered by a new rising star at Parker Gold. He has worked very hard to become the #1 producer for this company, setting volume and sales records. Ethan Rialto.
Thanks for the kind words, Jack. When I first came to Parker Gold, I had no idea that someday I'd be standing here. Each and every one of you, in your own way, has made me feel a part, as Jack says, of this great family. A truly humbling...
Ethan stops mid-sentence, stares. Heads turn to the rear. At the back of the auditorium, Nick, dressed in a soggy suit, dripping wet and unshaven. Gold punches a call in his cell. Nick walks slowly up the center aisle to the stage, occasionally nodding acknowledgement to the crowd. The agents avoid eye contact.
Sorry. Sorry I'm late. Sorry.
Nick pauses when he sees Crystal. She is shocked at his appearance.
Sorry.
3 large security guards block his path.
Okay, buddy, let's go.
It's okay. I'm here to speak.
Nick fumbles through his pockets.
Come on now, no trouble.
I have the paperwork right here.
Empty pockets.
I don't seem to be prepared.
One of the guards grabs Nick's arm. He resists. The other guards close in. A scuffle breaks out.
Just give me a minute. That's all I need. Just a little more time.
Now, don't embarrass yourself, buddy, in front of all these people.
Nick stops struggling, looks around as if seeing for the first time where he is. He leans in close, whispers.
You don't get it. They aren't people. They're real estate agents.
Sure, buddy. Whatever. Well, let's go.
Security drags him up the center aisle.
Wait, I know. Subject to the seller... No, that's not right. The buyer shall...
They stumble through exit doors. The crowd is restless. Gold takes the podium, pushes Ethan aside.
Please, everyone, take your seats. I understand your concern. I know I'm not alone when I say our hearts go out to Nick.
Silence falls over the auditorium. Gold has control again. Doors swing open. Security drags Nick out. He punches one of the guards, knocking him down. All 3 guards begin to pound Nick soundly. He falls to the ground.
Stay down.
Nick has become another casualty. The pressures of this difficult profession have claimed our brother. The lines for him have blurred, his focus gone. In times like this, we turn to the words of Jeffrey Parker for comfort, strength, and guidance. You know the words?
He cups an ear, expectant.
Who makes the market?
Gold scans the sea of faces.
Buyers don't. Sellers don't. I do. I do.
Gold paces, a caged animal. Faces in the crowd stare, emotionless.
I make the market.
Gold, crushed by the disharmony of countless cell phone rings, walks off the stage. Security backs away from Nick. He rises slowly, tries to compose himself. Blood streams from his nose.
The banks, they don't care.
Pedestrians on the crowded sidewalk avoid contact.
They sit behind their walls of paper, making their committee decisions.
Nick paces back and forth, addressing an unseen crowd. Ethan watches.
But you see, there isn't a committee. There's just some greedy bastard sitting on his ass, squeezing the cash cow. The damned motherfuckers we think ourselves to be.
Look at yourself, spouting that crap.
Nick mops blood off his face with a coat sleeve.
Harwood's dead.
I heard.
That's all you can say? He was your friend.
He was wound up too tight. It was a matter of time.
You're a cold bastard. You and the old man.
Nick walks towards his motorcycle. Ethan follows.
I had a good teacher. Work the deal. Do whatever it takes. Make the bastards pay.
Nick turns to face Ethan.
It's not always about the deal.
It's too late to hand me that crap, Nick.
Nick mounts his motorcycle, whips into traffic. He pushes the bike hard. Red light. He speeds through. Cars in the intersection narrowly miss. Another red light. Nick cracks the throttle. A bus glides into the intersection. Brakes lock, tires squeal. The motorcycle punches the side of the bus. Ethan turns at the sound of the impact, sees the bus blocking the intersection. A crowd forms around the splintered remains of the motorcycle and motionless rider. The bus driver paces back and forth.
Wasn't my fault. The light was red. He ran it. You all saw it.
Ethan pushes through the crowd. A woman looks down at Nick, appears faint. Teenagers point, grinning. A man smokes a cigarette. A familiar face stares from a billboard ad on the side of the bus. The woman. The ad, damaged by the accident, peels away, falls to the ground, covering Nick's body. Blood and rain soak the paper woman. 5 years later, 3 high-rise towers dwarf the surrounding structures. The palace stands completed. People crowd the sidewalk at a lobby entrance. A black S600 Mercedes pulls over to the curb, and a valet exits the vehicle. He opens the car doors for 2 well-dressed men and 2 beautiful women. Ethan, 5 years older, tips the valet. He is about to get into the car when something attracts his attention across the street. Through passing traffic, a homeless person sprawled under the shelter of a bus stop. Ethan stares at the lifeless figure.
Ethan, what is it?
Keep it here a minute.
Not a problem, sir.
Dodging traffic, Ethan crosses the busy boulevard. He reaches the other side and the sleeping homeless man. The homeless man is Nick. He lies in a fetal position, clutching a brown paper bag tightly to his chest. His hair is long, his clothes torn, face and hands dirty. A badly chipped wooden leg protrudes from torn, greasy jeans. Within reach, a shopping cart filled with indiscernible trash. Ethan turns, begins to walk away. He hesitates, looks down. Tiger rubs against his leg. Ethan picks him up, holds him close.
Hey, mister. Let go of my cat.
Ethan sets Tiger down. The cat jumps onto a pile of rags next to Nick, curls up. Nick peels the brown bag, swigs the last of the sack.
How are you, Nick?
Nick studies his image reflected in a stainless steel panel.
Better than perfect. You.
Okay.
Got everything you wanted?
Yeah.
You got it built.
Nick nods towards the towers.
Sometimes I use the park to piss and whatnot. Hey! Get away from there! That's mine!
Nick heaves the drained bottle at a homeless man rummaging through the shopping cart.
Bastards. They're always trying to steal everything.
The man scurries away as Nick approaches.
I'm on to you!
Nick hobbles around the cart, quickly assessing its contents. Ethan watches Nick hobble and looks away.
Whatever happened to... What was her name?
Crystal.
Yeah, Crystal. Was that it?
She's not in the business anymore.
She was a nice person. Your friends are calling.
Nick begins to roll up his makeshift bed.
I'm sorry how things turned out.
You think it's gonna rain today?
Ethan, we're gonna be late.
Gotta go.
Ethan awkwardly extends cash. Nick turns away. Ethan pockets the money.
Take care of yourself.
Ethan glances at the passengers,
What's the parking
deep
like?
in
2
meaningless conversation.
Tandem?
Side by side.
Has anyone seen
What was
Mary's
that all
listing?
about?
Talk about overpriced.
Ethan puts his sunglasses on, eases the Mercedes onto the roadway. In the rearview mirror, Nick disappears. Nick pushes the cart onto the street. It sways for a moment, then overturns, spilling trash across the boulevard. Nick hobbles through the scattered debris, trying to upright the cart. He slips, falls. Cars filled with angry motorists slowly move past. The rear axle of a large truck flattens a pile of personal junk. Nick cowers on the roadway, holding Tiger tightly as traffic closes in. A car stops. A black Mercedes. Ethan's car. Ethan gets out. The passenger rolls her window down, reluctantly sticks her head into the pouring rain.
Ethan!
He ignores her.
What are you doing?
Keys are in the ignition.
Is this a joke?
Ethan uprights the cart, reloads its spilled contents. He extends a hand to Nick, helps him up.
Who is he?
He looks at Nick for a moment, then turns back to her.
He's my brother.
Ethan pushes the shopping cart, Nick alongside, Tiger in his arms.
Oh, brother, I can't get through. I've been trying hard to reach you, 'cause I don't know what to do. Oh, brother, I can't believe it's true. I'm so scared about the future, and I wanna talk to you. Oh, I wanna talk to you.